Good morning. So, the vibes this morning are much more chill than when Spirit woke me up yesterday. I'll tell you that much, because yesterday, when Spirit said Astro-Dice, clean your shit, get your energy clear, I was like, yo. But today, Spirit woke me up much more mellow. There was no crazy pull for, what's the word I'm looking for? Almost like spiritual dire straits. You know what I mean? Like there was none of that this morning. And then I'm sitting here with my coffee, and I heard No Doubt's Sunday Morning pop into my head. And I haven't heard that song in years, but I was a huge No Doubt fan back in like the 90s. And it's pulling me to do a reading, so I'm not sure where the energy is going to go. We're gonna Astro-Dice it out, and I'm gonna pull some cards, and we're just gonna kind of feel the energy out. We're just gonna kind of feel the energy out. If you're not familiar with Sunday Morning by No Doubt, it was 2002. When did the Tragic Kingdom album come out? Because it's been so fucking long. I'm an old head. It's been so fucking long. I don't even remember how long ago that came out. Had to have been sometime in the 90s. I'd have been shocked if it can't be early 2000s. It's got to be sometime in the 90s. So, pretty much this song, because I double checked the lyrics. I used to fucking sing this shit in my room. Here, I'll hold this up. Maybe you guys will see it phone to phone, because this is my other spare phone. But it's talking about sappy, pathetic little me that was the girl I used to be. You had me on my knees. I'd trade you places any day. I never thought you could be that way, but you looked at me on Sunday. And you came in with the breeze on Sunday morning. You sure have changed since yesterday without any warning. I thought I knew you. I thought I knew you. I thought I knew you so well. And it's like, you're trying my shoes on for a change. They look so good but fit so strange. Out of fashion, so I can't complain. And I love this song. It's a great song. But it's talking about someone who's changed on a dime. You know, like came in with the breeze and just changed, you know? So we're going to pull in that kind of energy, especially whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship relationship, or even family that you involved yourself in, it's about someone you thought you knew and trusted, only for them to be not that person, you know what I mean? And how that feels, because when you feel like you know and trust someone and they're a certain type of person, it's almost like you're chasing that person you first thought you knew, you know what I mean? Like, even when I had met who I considered to be my divine counterpart, like, at the very beginning when him and I were first involved with each other, he was the best. Like, he was the best, like, no doubt. Not even like me in my head pretending with rose-colored glasses. Like, I would walk in the door and he would tell his buddies like he had to go, like gaming online, and he would tell he had to go because, you know, his girl showed up. And then it morphed over time, you know what I mean? That wasn't who he was anymore. And so it was almost like a constant chasing of the first person. It's like chasing a high almost, you know? And it's no different with family, because I could say the same thing about my dad. There were certain things about my dad that were so fucking awesome, and yet it just totally disappeared over time. And it's like, I thought I knew you. Like, you are not the person I thought You were. You know, I was daddy's little girl, and daddy loved me more than anyone and would have done anything for me. And then as time went on, it was like he completely lost who he was. He completely lost who he was. And so if you feel, and maybe that's what this reading is about, right? Maybe that's what this reading is about. If you're in a dynamic with someone, family, friend, partner, or otherwise, how to handle allowing yourself to move forward, because people show you who they are in the present moment. And that's important to recognize, because we can't chase the past and believe in a future that's not here and may or may not turn out that way. You know, like you think you know a person, you think you could trust a person, and then time tells you different, and that's okay. And that's okay, but we still have to take things for face value in the present moment and choose what's in our highest good in the present moment. We can't get hung up on past or future or hope, because, you know, and I say it all the time, hope is a beautiful name, but it's a bullshit word. You either have faith in someone or you don't, you know? Heck, even my counterpart. I mean, there was a whole thing in hindsight, because, I mean, it's kind of hitting me like lightning this morning. So maybe you guys are having your own lightning epiphanies with, you know, Mars getting set to go retrograde and Jupiter moving back into Pisces, right? All of these different reflective energies in the realm of thought and soul, and Mercury moving into Scorpio. You know, and I had mentioned it, I think it was in the DMDF reading. My counterpart and I were looking at buying a house, and in hindsight, you know, his uncle had messaged him and told him, you know, you're not ready. And he was really hurt by that, and didn't push for it. He didn't push for the home. He was really hurt and offended. And yet, and it's weird, because it's hitting me this morning. Like, I'm just waking up and making coffee, you know what I mean? Like, and the thoughts are bum rushing my mind, and they're coming out of nowhere, because there's no reason for me to actually think about these things, you know what I mean? Like, I have wholeheartedly and truly moved on with my life. You know, I have my full-time job, I have my soul family, I have my son, like, life is good. Like, so there's no actual reason for these thoughts to be coming in, other than spirit wants me to think about them for the sole purpose of communicating them for whatever you guys need, you know, metaphorically speaking, or awareness concerning. So in hindsight, you know, my counterpart wanted this house, and his uncle said, you're not ready. You know, he had reneged on the original deal. You know, the price of the home increased, and, you know, then he sent my counterpart this email saying, you know, you're not ready. And at the time, I was like, listen, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. It's okay. Like, we'll just go from here. You know, it's no big deal. We'll find something, you know, it doesn't, if that's not it, then that's okay. Then something else is. Like, trying to be optimistic, right, Sag? And he was really upset about that. And he wasn't necessarily the same after that. Something was discouraged in him that completely switched into a different level of low, okay? When his uncle, he felt, betrayed him like that. And in hindsight, he didn't go in it with himself and his own goals and his own confidence in mind. Like, when we went into the deal with his one uncle, he was bringing in another, and made it very clear that he was bringing in another. And it's crazy, because it hit me this morning. The reason why his uncle that was selling the property didn't move forward with the original deal and changed everything and then said, you're not ready and all this, was because of the uncle he was bringing on board. It had nothing to do with my counterpart. It had everything to do with my counterpart banking on his uncle, doing it together, doing it with him, instead of just standing on his own and saying, this is what I want, this is what I want to do, I have someone who can rent the other property, you know, and being secure in the self. Like, he was pulling someone else into the equation, that the person he was buying the home from was like, I would do it for you, but I'm not doing it for them. You know, I would do it and make this deal for you. It's not about them. If you're going to bring them into it, then it's business. You know what I mean? And I feel like it collapsed in that way in hindsight. So if you need to stand on your own and be confident on your own, like, don't think that bringing someone else in is making it more stable or more solid, because I'm pretty sure that's what my counterpart thought, that bringing in his uncle was only going to make the deal look more stable and more solid because he felt more stable and solid pulling his uncle into it, because he didn't trust and believe in his own stability. He didn't trust and believe in his own stability. He fears stability. It's Taurus 12th house. Okay. There is this embedded fear. And so he created a scenario where he felt more stable presenting the deal, but that wasn't the actual stability that was going to create the deal. You know what I mean? Like, from someone else's point of view, they can't trust my counterpart because my counterpart doesn't trust himself. You know, so when we move forward with things, do not be afraid to trust yourself, present as yourself, be exactly who you are in full faith that you can get shit done, that you can handle it. Like, when I moved into this place that I'm in now, my landlord, God help us all, God help us all, my landlord has a reputation around town that I was not completely privy to until after I moved in here. But apparently the whole town knows that he has a tendency of bargaining sexual favors for rent that doesn't come in full or late. And he's been banking on me being late for a hot minute. But even when I moved in, I was like, yeah, I'm a single mom. You know, I have my son. It's just me and him. But, you know, I am fully confident in my earning capabilities. Fully confident. Like, I will always have my rent on time, and it will always be in full, and it will never be late. And he was like, okay, but it was, I'll put it to you this way. He's been wildly inappropriate since. And when I nipped it in the bud and really put him in his place, like Saggy style, called him out, full blown, frank, blunt, he hasn't actually repaired anything in my unit unless it's cost him money. But it's not chasing. You know what I mean? I'm not chasing the landlord that was all willing to fix whatever and all willing to do whatever because he thought he was going to get some favors out of it at the end because, you know, me being a single mom, I might not have been able to come through on my rent. Damn if I ain't able to come through on my rent. You know what I mean? Like, I know better. Period. With or without the rumors. With or without the rumors. So, I mean, yeah. It's, this Sunday morning energy, I really feel like it's about standing in your own power, guys. We're going to get into the dice and see what's going on. We're actually going to get into the dice. I know you guys don't mind me talk about my own story because, to be completely fair, I think sometimes it helps you guys feel not so alone, or at the very least, law of relativity, like, you could be in a worse position. You know what I mean? Like, you could be in a worse position. I could be in a worse position than you. Law of relativity, it's not so bad. You know what I mean? It's not so bad all the time. Right now, there's a leak in my bedroom ceiling, and my landlord, you know, he refuses to fix it. It's going to rain today and tomorrow, so I've got a bucket ready just in case it starts to drip. You know what I mean? Like, this is the kind of background shit that people don't always talk about, and they don't put this shit on social media. You know what I mean? Like, everything is sunshine and rainbows and butterflies. Like, no, I got a fucking perv landlord who, you know, refuses to fix anything because I refuse to humor that energy. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not a fucking whore. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to prostitute myself for fucking rent. I have more class than that. I have more self-respect than that. And if you can't appreciate the fact that I'm paying you full in rent, you can kiss my fucking ass. You know what I mean? I'm still going to be a good tenant. Just because you're not a good landlord don't mean shit. It just means I'm not gonna renew my fucking lease. I will take my money elsewhere, you know? So, it's no different with relationships. Like, I'm sorry, you know, I'm a good partner. It's not my fault you're not being a good partner. It's not my fucking fault. You know, if I'm in alignment and you're not in alignment, it's not my fault. I'm not going to be out of alignment for you to be out of alignment. I'm just not going to renew my contract with you. I'm not going to continue in this contract with you. Right? With people. I'm going to show up, and I'm going to always show up because I believe in myself and have faith in myself that I respect myself that I'm going to show up. If you don't show up for you and respect you and your own energy, like, that's not my fault. I'll stick around for however long the contract says I got to stick around. And then when the contract's up, I'm out. Like, I'm not going to keep renewing this contract with you. I'm not going to keep sticking it out every window of opportunity I have to leave. I'll fucking leave. I'm not going to renew some low contract, low vibe shit. So, Sunday morning. Ooh. We've got Pisces, 10th house, Mercury. Pisces, obviously Neptune's retrograding, Jupiter's retrograding in there. Juno and Astrea are also in there. Juno is a higher feminine element that relates to loyalty. It relates to loyalty and higher commitment. Astrea is a healing agent. Astrea is a healing agent. I describe that energy in a chart like the river of diamond light kind of like flowing over everything. And White Moon's also there. So we have White Moon Selene, which is a little burst of good karma. And Selene's hanging out with Juno and Astrea. So it's all beautiful stuff going on in Pisces right now. 10th, although they're being challenged by some of the scorpionic stuff. The fresh, new into Scorpio signs, there's some sesquiquadrates and things like that going on. And there's a square from Mars and Gemini hitting Neptune and Jupiter. Mars is definitely retrograde right now. So 10th house is all about career and reputation. Your reputation. 10th house is what precedes the midhaven. Now, if you think about astrology, the Imam Coli, or Imam Coli, however you want to pronounce it, the IC, which is the cusp of the 3rd and 4th house, that is our inner child. Like, it's no coincidence that the abbreviation for it is actually IC. It's your inner child. It's where the inner child woundings are. It's where the inner child feels like it wants you to fight for it from. You know, it's all of these energies that deal with the deep subconscious of the self. The midhaven, or the cusp between the 9th and 10th house, is how you present to the outside world when you are in your highest self, right? Because the midhaven is the highest point on a chart. So it is your highest self. It is the way your highest self presents. This is going to be particularly important for Pisces midhavens, okay, this reading. And Mercury, which is the communication of it, or the mind, right? So we're talking about higher mind. We're talking about soul-mindedness. We're talking about having a reputation that precedes you for being in alignment with soul and communicating from soul with this Mercury 10th house Piscean energy. You could also be dealing with the current Mercury aspecting your chart. You could be dealing with how Pisces aspects your 10th house. You could be dealing with how the current Piscean energy is affecting your own and your 10th house and all of that stuff. So take this reading as it resonates for you. This is probably going to be significant for Pisces midhavens, okay? Exceptionally significant for Pisces midhavens. All right, we're going to start with the Healing Light Tarot. Really, that's that energy, 10th house, Pisces, Mercury, that's communicating the integrity of your soul. That is communicating the integrity of your soul. not backing down in the face of understanding what's in alignment, right? That you would not buckle or give in to what's not in alignment. The integrity of your soul says, hey, it either is in alignment or it's not. And you can't fight it. If something's saying, yeah, it is in alignment, it is in alignment, don't be afraid, don't resist. It goes the same way. Like, the integrity of your soul is the integrity of your soul, whether it's guiding you to or away from something. Overriding fear with the house of Pisces, right? Because Pisces is the natal 12th house. So we could definitely be talking about the things going off in your 12th house, which if you have not watched the 12th house readings that I just did, you should watch them, because I address the energies of what each 12th house fear that needs to be overridden looks like. Mercury is the natural ruler of both the 3rd and 6th house. How we learn and how we're educated and how we ripple. They're natural houses to Gemini and Virgo. And which is interesting because they're all mutable signs. Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, they're all mutable. They're all changeable. They're all about the flow. All right, Spirit. So, insight. What message needs to come through with this energy today? What else? We got the 3 of Wands and the 4 of Swords. And the 8 of Wands. It's almost like someone's wondering if the ship has sailed because they took too long. Especially because they're getting pings to communicate now. Someone was in heal mode. And they're standing on the shore looking at the ship like the ship has sailed. Because they needed to take a rest and get the downloads from Spirit. They needed to reach a certain point. Clarities, please. Give me more. Yeah, they couldn't see. The ship sailed and they betrayed themselves. Like, they didn't realize it at the time. The ship sailed. It's the 3 of Wands, clarified by the 10 of Swords. Okay. And then we have the 4 of Swords, clarified by the 2 of Swords. And the 8 of Wands, clarified by the 9 of Cups. I think when the ship originally sailed, whatever it was, and the ship is indicative of the dream, right? Moving towards the dream, moving towards the unknown, moving towards the whole new world, the whole new book, right? Where you're out of pain cycles and into healed cycles. That's what the ship represents, right? The ships carry the treasure and bring you to the treasure like ships. Whoever this is standing on the shore watching the ship sail, they're watching their treasure or their dream or their whole new book, their whole new chapter without their pain set sail. And they feel betrayed. Originally, they probably feel betrayed and blamed or pointed a finger and were very angry, right? Because their ship sailed and they were left on the shore feeling stabbed in the back. And really, they needed some serious time to cool that off, that sense of anger or betrayal. Like, Spirit put them on ice. There was some serious healing that needed to take place, because the Four of Swords is about rest and repair. It's about needing a mental rest so that the mind can repair, because they weren't seeing truth for what it was. They were seeing things in black and white in terms of A or B. Well, if they're not this, then they're that. Or if they're that, then they're not this. And it's like, yeah, but what if you took the blindfold off and allowed yourself to see in the light of your moon, right? Because the moon is on the third eye. If you were to actually see from the light of your moon sign, or in this case, maybe popping into your midhaven, right? The reputation of your soul, the integrity of your soul. This person needed to see self-betrayal as opposed to feeling betrayed by the outer experience, because the outer experience is only a reflection of what's going on inside. So if people are betraying you in the outer experience, it's because you're betraying yourself on an internal level, some which way, shape, or form. Like, I've even admitted that kind of stuff, like, in my own counterpart dynamic. Like, when my counterpart was cheating on me and betraying me and lying to me, it's like, okay, my first thought was, okay, so how am I lying to myself, cheating myself, and betraying myself? By accepting this behavior and thinking it's okay just because I love him with my whole fucking soul more than anybody else I've ever loved in my life, and making it okay when the behavior and the treatment is not okay. Yes, I was betraying and cheating myself and lying to myself, thinking it could be okay when it couldn't. You know what I mean? Like, when someone is betraying you in the outer experience, you have to instantly be able to say, okay, how am I betraying myself in life, whether it's in regards to this person or in general? Someone had to see, because there was a refusal to see how they were betraying themselves. They had to take the spiritual blindfold off. And now that they're starting to see, Spirit's communicating with them about their wish fulfillment. Spirit's communicating with them about their wish fulfillment. And they're wondering if it's too late to catch the ship. I think they're wondering if it's too late to catch the ship. Give me further clarity, Spirit, for each of these. Clarify the 3 and the 10 further. Yeah, the 4 of Cups. They missed an opportunity. They were sitting on a third-party situation, a karmic situation, or a group situation. And this particular cup has wings. It has freaking wings. And so it's almost like the 4th cup, the cup that's always gifted from Spirit, is kind of flying. So it's that message of the Ace of Cups, the dream, the treasure, taking off is being reiterated. The Queen of Swords, yeah, they had to get in touch with the truth of their heart. And then the Queen of Swords is realistic. Like, it's a Libran energy. And it's about what's fair is fair, but as the second air sign, and that it can be any air sign, it could be Gemini, Aqua energy as well. It's about seeing the face value facts and the higher reality of things and allowing justice to be what it is. There's butterflies and transformation on this card. You know, this is about seeing the face value reality that we are in for the higher perspective, or the mirror that it is, and allowing it to come into balance with the truth that the heart space is seeing, witnessing, intuiting. You know what I mean? It's the feminine energy of the swords. And sometimes she's very cold or dry when it comes to communication. Like, it's very fact of the matter. Like, this is not what I thought it was. Why I'm mad isn't why I thought I was mad. Why I'm here isn't why I thought why I was here. Maybe looking from an internal mirror and seeing the higher perspective, I can understand why Spirit has me in this situation. And if I don't want to be in this situation, understanding why I'm in the situation helps me leave it. Because once you understand why you are in a situation, and what you're meant to do beyond it, it becomes very easy to leave a situation that was once difficult, very difficult to leave. Where you once saw there was no way out of leaving the situation. How could you leave it? How could you this? How could you that? It becomes very clear how and why you can walk away, you know? Yeah, the Empress is on the bottom of that, because you deserve to receive. At the end of the day, you deserve to receive the next book. You deserve to receive the ship. You deserve to receive that Ace of Cups from the universe. You know what I mean? You deserve to receive the best. Once you acknowledge why you are hanging around in the low vibrations and you see the mirror of things and the reality, the face value facts of the reality, when you take the rose-colored glasses off, the egoic need to love or prove or have whatever, that you would be willing to sacrifice yourself, suffer, to have something outside of yourself, and decide, you know what, I'm going to go within, I'm going to do the healing part and let life morph, let life change, let life shift for me, let it work in my favor, like the divine is conspiring in my favor all the time. Once you click into that energy of seeing the mirror for what it is, it makes it very, very easy to leave. It makes it very easy to leave. Once you see, and maybe this is going to be particular for someone, once you see how someone is almost using you or taking you for granted because it benefits their life or their goals or their aspirations in some way, but they really could give two fucks about you. Like, they really could give two fucks about you. Like, maybe you're making something possible within their family unit. Maybe you're making something possible within their financial situation. Maybe you're making something possible that they appreciate and don't care if you're suffering for, or if you were to leave, like, they don't give a fuck. Like, okay, that's fine. Like, you were benefiting me, but I'm not going to be upset about it because I really don't fucking want you here anyway. Like, once you understand that someone is looking at you like that, like, yeah, it's great. We do this on the weekends and we get to be a whole family and we get to, you know, sit around the table and I get to spend time with my kids and you make it possible. But, you know, if you left, it is what it is. Like, someone is using someone for something, and someone is having a hard time seeing it. Someone is having a hard time seeing it. That they're being used in some which way, shape, or form, and that the person that they're being used by, that they love and care about, doesn't actually give two shits about them. Like, on a spiritual level. They don't care if someone's suffering. They don't care if they're losing opportunities with the love of their life. They don't care that they're being financially stressed out or strained. Like, they don't care. It's a hardcore mirror. It's a hardcore mirror because someone, I feel like it's being put in someone else's shoes. Like, someone needed to see a perspective from someone else's shoes. Clarify this 8 of Wands and 9 of Cups, please, Spirit. What it must have felt like. Knight of Wands. Yes, Spirit's hardcore inspiring them to go after their ship. Like, yo, jump off the shore and start fucking swimming at full speed. Maybe just the act of jumping in and of itself, like, Spirit will throw you a dolphin because they're fucking faster. And they'll fucking get you to the ship. You know what I mean? This Knight of Cups on the bottom, the underlying energy is that of communication from a vulnerable space. And putting forth the effort with the 8 of Coins on top. I think whoever this message is for, they know the effort is meant to be made. The communication is meant to be made. You know, the wish fulfillment is still the wish fulfillment. The treasure is still the treasure. The Ace of Cups from the divine that was gifted is still the Ace of Cups from the divine that was gifted. You know, what is meant for you can't be taken from you. And if you're afraid that something is gone, then you're afraid that something was never meant to be yours. In which case, what do you have to lose? Communicating. What do you have to lose communicating? Because if it was meant to be yours, and you're coming to some kind of awareness about self-betrayal, and you're seeing things with the blindfold off, you know, and you're realizing you've put yourself in a situation that helps you maybe understand why the ship left, or the Ace of Cups here left, you know, like putting you in a situation to see because you were blind to what was fair. You know, there was a blindfold on that needed time to come off. What it feels like. What it feels like, you know, and I'll give you another example from my real life, you know, like you guys are not alone in this journey shit, and I could talk about it because I've healed from it, you know what I mean? It doesn't upset me the way it used to. It's very much an understanding. Like my counterpart and I, with all of the betrayal and all of the lies and everything that was going on, you know, he really loved that I was paying all of the bills. He really did love that I was paying for the food. He really did love that I was holding my own in that regard. He really did love that I made it possible for certain family things to take place, including with his daughter. You know, he loved that I brought a certain level of flow to his life, that I was benefiting him in a lot of ways. However, it was all one-way drain. It really was all one-way drain. What he thought he was giving me is not what I needed. I know what I was giving him is what he needed. I know that's what he wanted. That was his dream. I wasn't having the dream or the treasure received in return. So I became my own. You know what I mean? So I found the treasure within myself and created my own treasure. I've formed my own island here. You know what I mean? I have formed my own island here. And I think that, you know, the cycles of things for what people go through, like, understand too, soul, right? The integrity of your soul says a lot. Because now, I do hope, and I will take that back. I know that the universe, in faith, gives us all perspective when we're in an unhealed place. That when someone you love hurts you, and you realize that what's happening is they're just exposing the hurts within yourself, it's the acceptance that if you can see that perspective, that higher perspective, that people aren't actually hurting you. They're just exposing the hurts within yourself. That you can understand the IC, the Imam Koli, or the inner child, right, of your chart. And be able to listen to that voice, that inner child voice. And balance both the Ascendant and the Descendant, because it is required. The midhaven and the IC, that is the as above and so below. The Ascendant is the as within, and the Descendant is the so without. The inner reflects in the outer. It starts with the self in the first house, as within, and moves to the Descendant, which is the 7th house cusp with the 6th house, and that is so without. That is how it reflects in the outer. When you balance your inner with your outer energy, the manifestation is a beautiful piece. It's a beautiful piece. It's centered. I know. Just as you guys will learn and know, if you don't already. Your Ascendant, when you tune in to that energy, it's like a boomerang. It's like setting off a boomerang that goes out and comes back. Being in the light of that sign unlocks the house of partnerships, which is its polarity. When you rise in your energy in regards to your first house, no matter how hard it is, because it's really difficult. Like me being a Cancer rising, Cancer is the sign of the nurturer, and the sign, and in the house of the self, right? The first house. I had to learn to nurture myself. I had to learn to love myself, show compassion for myself, show mercy for myself, all of the love that I was pouring into my partner. I had to give it to myself. The respect, the consideration, all of it, all that beautiful Cancerian energy. I had to flip it. And instead of projecting it in my outer, I had to project it to my inner in order for my outer to take place. My outer experience is Capricorn, and I am the CEO of my life. I earn all my own fucking money. I'm stable as hell. I'm a business person. Like, I do a lot. It's balanced. And now that I understand my balance and what my balance looks like, I will not allow people to throw me off from that. Because that's my rise. I'm going to stay in my lane, especially being a Taurus North node. Stay in my lane, consistency and stability, reliability, dependability, to be exactly who the fuck I am in regards to my dreams, what I want to create. Whatever your placements are, understand that if you're giving it full force to someone else, it is something that you have to be uncompromising in giving it to yourself. The nurturance, the respect, uncompromising, right? Cancer rising, uncompromising and giving it to myself. I will always nurture myself and respect myself. If someone doesn't want to respect me or nurture me or be considerate of me, they can fucking leave. Because me allowing them in my space is disservice to my self-nurturance. If I'm allowing disrespectful people in my life, then I am not respecting myself. If I'm allowing inconsiderate people in my circle, then I am not considering myself. That was my mirror. That's what being with a 7th house Capricorn shadow, it's narcissism. That's what happens to help me learn. When I don't stand up for my own self, my own first house, if I don't stand up for that first house, I will always manifest a narcissist to help me learn. Always. If you can see, right? If you can see the potential of someone, right? I'll go through the rising signs. Okay? I'll go through the rising signs. Aries rising. May define themselves through their partnerships, may lose themselves in their partnerships, may be attracted to very controlling people, and or be exceptionally controlling in relationships, and that their partner is defining themselves through them, and they don't find someone who comes in as their equal, and so impulsive things happen, reckless things happen, things blow up out of nowhere, you know, because there's no power, balance of power. The Aries, Libra, and Axis requires a balance of self with a balance of partnerships. You can't lose yourself in a dynamic, in a partnership, and forget what it's like to be you. Like all of a sudden you love all of your partner's music and you're starting to dress like them, and you know, you automatically have the same goals or the same whatever, and you lose yourself in your partner. Like, you have to be able to know who you are and be yourself instead of becoming what you think your partner wants you to be. The Aries, Libra, and Axis. Taurus rising, Scorpio rising, that axis, that polarity. You have to be able to find stability and reliability in your ability to shift and change, which is crazy because they're both, right, fixed signs, right? The Aries, Libra is both cardinal or leadership signs, where the Taurus-Scorpio axis is fixed signs. You have to be able to be consistent and not attract very unstable partners or self-sabotaging partners, because that dynamic, the Taurian Scorpio dynamic, is the typical you need saving and I will save you type shit, okay? I will show you what stability looks like because you're unstable. It is the guy who makes a whole lot of money who wants to save the nobody hoe. You know, it's the I will rescue you and show you stability, and that hoe is on drugs, you know? Or they're addicted to sex, or they're a fucking porn star or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, Scorpio is kind of intense. And vice versa. If you're a Scorpio rising, like, you might have serious self-sabotaging tendencies where you do what you want whenever the fuck you want to do it, and you're not taking into consideration the stability of the partnership. Where you're so focused on yourself that if anybody were to try and step to you and say, hey, like, I know you enjoy doing this, but it's going to affect our relationship stability in the long run. It's going to affect our dream in the long run. Like, you can't just go to the racetrack and blow thousands of dollars on fucking horses. You know what I mean? Like, we need to save that money for a house. Like, Taurus polarity, Taurus partner is going to be stable. You can't just frivolously blow all that money and buy $1,000 boombox that's just going to sit on your fucking shelf and you're going to take it out once a year. Or you might not ever take it out because, you know, you spent $1,000 on it and don't want to break it. Like, then don't buy it. You know, it's this polarity of wanting to offer stability to someone who is completely unstable, or someone who's very selfish and reckless, who doesn't see how they're sabotaging themselves. That polarity, that axis of Scorpio and Taurus, rising and descendant. Gemini rising and Sag ascendant with the Gemini and Sag descendant. That polarity axis. Gemini rising can get so hung up in their own dream, their own vision, that they don't actually see how their partner is contributing to the long-term vision. They get so hung up potentially on the reality and what the reality looks like that they don't actually see how their partner shares the goal, or that their partner's way of achieving the goal is there. Now, these are both mutable signs, right? Gemini and Sag, they're both mutable. They're changeable. Gemini rising does in fact need to be able to see their own mirror. It's the sign of the twins. They need to be able to see their own mirror, their own masculine and feminine energy, and the healing of it for the long-term vision. Because if Gemini is the face value reality, Sagittarius is the vision of the dream or the long-term goal. And a Gemini rising can be so hung up on their long-term goal that they're losing sight in the reality of how their partner is actually the long-term goal. A Sag rising will not see their own potential. They will see the potential of their partner and not actually see the face value reality of their partner, because they're having a hard time seeing the face value reality of themselves. And the face value reality of themselves is their own masculine and feminine wounding, and why they're attracting what they're attracting. They're going to attract partners who are essentially what is like bipolar or a coin flip. Sometimes they're in, sometimes they're out. Sometimes they're in, sometimes they're out. When they're not healed in their own energy, they're going to have flip-flop partners. Today, I want you and I love you and you're the best thing in my life. And the next day, this isn't what I want. I really want this though. And you're too good for me and blah, blah, blah. We're talking about the Sag, Gemini, and axis. How we balance that. You have to be able to see yourself at face value in the mirror. And understand that just because you don't see the steps in front of you to reach a goal doesn't mean that it's not naturally happening when you're in alignment with your partner. When you trust your partner and you trust yourself and you see your own potential. and aim for your own potential and stay in alignment with that. You believe in the power of yourself. You got to believe in the power of yourself and what you deserve and what you're worth, because otherwise, like, Gemini rising will keep shooting in the dark. They'll keep shooting in the dark. And same goes for Sag rising. They'll keep missing the mark. They'll keep going after a partner that misses the mark, instead of actually seeing the potential of what a partner can hold when the partner's in alignment. They're going to consistently chase after flip-flop people instead of actually going towards their balance. Someone who sees the reality of them and the potential of them for what it is and cheers on their potential as a matter of fact manifestation. Mutable axes are difficult. I mean, given they all have their challenges. They all have their challenges. Cardinal, fixed, mutable, axes, they all have their challenges. Mutable requires a lot of faith. A lot of faith in the unknown, based on what you see in your own mirror. It's not about looking at the reality in the outer experience. It's about consistently looking about the reality on the inner experience. You have to kind of train yourself. You have to train yourself to look at your own inner mirror on a consistent basis in regards to your reality. It's never about the actual outer experience, because it is always about the inner experience and how that reflects. You can only change your outer experience from your inner world. Gemini risings have to see the potential of their partner and believe in it without a doubt. And Sag risings need to believe in the potential of themselves, the beauty of themselves in the long term, beyond a doubt. That they are not worth the flip-flop. They are worth the forever. We talk about the Cancerian and Capricornian axis. Again, two cardinal signs. Cancer rising will absolutely manifest narcissists to help them into self-love and self-security. That they are the ones that can choose their own path in their own life, and they don't need a partner to make their life better. They don't need a partner to make their life stable. They don't need a partner to call the shots. They have to lead their own life through love of self. Otherwise, they will attract narcissists. Capricorn rising will always need to be the earner and will always look for the person that cuts them slack or makes life easy. They'll always look for a partner that's not hard and meticulous on them the way they need to be hard and meticulous on themselves. They love the partner that caters to them and waits on them and says, it's okay, the soft and fluffy partner. And they might be the soft and fluffy partner, hoping that their partner takes care of them. Hoping that their partner takes care of them because, you know, they're considerate and loving and nurturing and all of these beautiful things for their partner. But they're not bringing stability or direction to the relationship, and they're making their partner call all the shots. And then their partner doesn't feel like they have a partner. They feel like they're raising a child. I mean, if you think about it, Cancer and Capricorn are the mother and the father, the natural IC and midhaven polarity, the natural axis, the mother and the father. You get in weird daddy issue, mommy issue dynamics. And until your mommy issues or your daddy issues heal, you will consistently manifest within that axis to teach you. You will have issues being the provider and accepting being provided for, and being the nurturer and accepting being nurtured. The Leo-Aquarius axis. The Leo-Aquarius axis. Leo rising with an Aquarius descendant. You could look for a partner that is healing your self-worth, but it's never enough until you see it. Nothing your partner will do is ever going to be good enough if it's unhealed, this axis. Nothing your partner does will ever be good enough, and vice versa. Nothing you do for your partners will ever be good enough until you start being good enough for yourself. It begs you to reattach to your own ability to give and be generous with your huge heart to yourself. That you would allow a person in that sees you as good enough. We will always reject our best partners until these ascending and descending axes are healed. This is like the epitome of why good girls like bad boys, and why bad boys, you know, like good girls, and they never works out. Like, how come a good guy and a good girl just can't hook up and be happy forever? Because this axis of ascending and descendant is unhealed. You will always attract the wrong partner until you balance this shit. The house of self and the house of partnerships. 1st and 7th house. Leo rising needs to see their own power, exude their own power, and know with confidence that their partner loves them for who they are and is not going to just detach and not love them anymore when they're giving to other things. Because everybody is an individual. Leo rising in their shadow is going to want their partner to be all consumed with them. Because they're not seeing the bigger perspective. They're not allowing their partner to be an individual. They're not allowing their partner to detach. They also might be completely up their partner's asses. This polarity, you could have someone who is completely up their partner's ass and drilling themselves into their life on all aspects, and that person no longer has a sense of being able to do their own thing. Being able to be unique. And it's a fixed axis, the Aquarian Leo axis. It's fixed. Fixed signs. You could be attracted to very unique partners and want them to be everything that you want them to be, which is essentially changing the uniqueness of your partner. It's taking their authenticity away. You have to be able to see that you are loved for the authentic person that you are. And that you can be the authentic person that you are. And not waver in that. Not compromise or sacrifice the crown that you wear as an individual. And to sit side by side with someone else who's wearing a crown. These partnership dynamics are not about servitude, Leo and Aqua polarities. If you think your partner is serving you, or must shift and change for you, or bow to you, or buckle to you, and give you your way, or you are doing the opposite and you are constantly serving your partner and bowing and buckling and giving them their way, that you're losing yourself, you're losing your authentic voice, you don't actually want to do what they want to do. You have to be able to find common ground with your partner and be like, all right, we both wear crowns. You want one thing, I want another thing. We can't compromise one for the other. So how do we find a win-win between the two? How can we be solution-oriented then? Instead of focusing on the problem, my way or your way, and then choosing the highway because, you know, we can't figure it out. We can't look at the win-win. And we're in this my way or highway duality. How do we just find a different route? The Leo Aquarius polarity. You need to be able to see how your partner actually makes you stronger, actually pushes you to be a better person. Instead of getting hung up on the idea that, you know, maybe who you are in your wounded state is the best version of yourself and being very egotistical. Well, I'm the best partner when I'm serving. I'm the best partner. No, you're not, though. You're not giving your partner a sounding board. You're not pushing your partner to be better. You're feeding into their wounds and bowing to their wounded state. And you're not giving them a sounding board to bounce off of that says, hey, there's a better way. Listen, I'm not against you. I'm with you. I want to strengthen us. You know, this polarity of the king, right? If you look at Leo as the king and Aquarius as the water bearer, pouring the water, like the servant who pours the wine for the king. At some point, you're going to have to look at each other and say, you know what, this person brings a magnitude of beauty to my life, and this person makes my life so much fucking easier because they do all this shit that I don't want to fucking do. And I'm not going to hurt this person, talk down to this person, make this person feel like crap, or be condescending to this person, because there is a thank you, gratitude for being what the other is not. Leo Aquarian polarities. Virgo Pisces. We're talking about the Virgo Pisces axis, that ascending and rising axis of 1st and 7th house. If we look at Virgo and Pisces, they're both mutable signs. Virgo rising wants everything perfect. They want everything their way. They want everything to be and move exactly according to their plan. And Pisces is about flow and whatever, right? The soul and flow. But they're very indecisive. So this axis can yield partners who are very controlling, very petty, mildly explosive, right? Mutable signs are always risking being explosive. Whether it's the Sag-Gemini polarity or the Virgo-Pisces polarity, there's a sense of explosiveness with mutability. Like, don't fuck up, it's flammable. Handle with care. It's combustible. You know, mutable signs. Virgo energy can be the meticulous, very petty, very controlling, everything has to be perfect kind of partner. And they could also project, right? This Virgoian energy can also manifest as someone who is always forever trying to be perfect. And they're not viewing their own imperfections or flaws as something that's beautiful. They can expect their partners to be perfect. And not feel the need to be perfect themselves, right, with this Piscean axis. Ascendant, descendant, you know, take it, flip it, how it resonates with you. because you're going to constantly be in that mirror with partnerships and learning from that dichotomy. One minute you're going to see the person's flaws as beautiful and not feel the need to change them, and they're going to be in this I need to be perfect, I'm not good enough, you know, you deserve better than me type shit. All of this dichotomy stuff, please apply it to your nodes as well, okay? Because just because it's not your rising and descendant signs doesn't mean that these dichotomies don't play a very serious role in the nodal axis that you have with north and south node. I'm not perfect yet. I can't commit because I'm not perfect yet. I can't commit because they are not perfect yet. Everything needing to be very specific and very perfect in the now moment that makes every moment not good enough, because perfection is an illusion. It's authenticity that matters. It's how my soul cares about your soul. It's about being decisive. Because, you know, when you put all of the shot calling on the Virgoian energy of that axis, and your Piscean energy is indecisive, I'm not sure, well, I'll just keep going with it anyway. Maybe it'll work out. I'll just keep letting them call shots. I'll just keep trusting in their directive, even though something in my soul says something's off. Not trusting in the soul, that the soul, in fact, allows you to choose to perfection via discernment. Trusting the shot calling of someone else instead of trusting yourself. The Virgo Piscean polarity has a lot to do with self-trust. Soul trust at that. Things don't have to be perfect, but they do have to be aligned. They do have to be aligned. The Pisces Virgo polarity, you have to be able to trust your soul to perfection. Trust your discernment. If something is wounded in your partner, whether romantic or otherwise, because the house of partnerships is people that we pair up with. It doesn't have to be romantic all the time, even if it often is. It's a polarity in our charts that we create all the time. We want to trust certain things because we are afraid to call the shots, and so we let other people call the shots and control our outcome. Virgo Pisces polarity. That's where you don't trust yourself to make a decision. You don't trust yourself moving forward. It's where your own indecision costs you your path because you gave control of your path to someone else. And vice versa. Maybe you're so used to calling the shots, so used to having it your way, feeling so comfortable in control that you don't know how to give up control to someone else who trusts their soul more, who can discern better. Maybe they have more water in their chart. Discernment comes easy for them. Their intuition's on point. Virgo in its shadow does not know how to yield, trust, and control, which makes their partner question themselves and makes them indecisive. Well, I don't know what to do because I don't feel like my partner's making the right decision, or I don't feel like my partner's making the right choice. But if I argue with them or say anything to them, it's a fucking blow up. They won't let me be an equal say in the relationship. Something doesn't feel right. And then, of course, they'll go along with their partner anyway because, you know, they can't say anything and they're indecisive and they don't want to leave. And yet that path is going to have the rug pulled out from under them at some point. And then the partner with the Piscean energy is like, yeah, well, you know, I had a feeling. And then the other person, the Virgo person, is getting upset. Well, why didn't you say anything? And then the Pisces person's like, well, if I did, would you have seriously fucking listened? Or would you have bit my head off because it's your way or no way? You know, like, you want to do things the way you want to do things because you only trust yourself. You get partnership dynamics like that, where one partner's constantly taking a back seat because one person's a control freak. The lesson with that, how to balance that, is always being in control of your own self. Well, that's fine. You can choose that path, but I'm not choosing it with you. I'm going to do this instead. Well, what do you mean we have to go to the family function together? Blah, blah, blah. Listen, you want to go to the family function? That's what you want to do? I don't feel like I should be there. My gut's telling me not to go. I'm not going. You can go. I love you. You can go. I'm not going, though. Well, that doesn't paint my perfect picture. We're a couple. We should be showing up together. Okay, yeah, but I'm busy. I don't want to go. Something's telling me not to go. I don't want to go. Like, that dynamic has to heal. The Piscean axis, part of that axis, has to be able to stand up for their intuition. And the Virgo shadow aspect of that axis is going to have to learn to release control, and that it's okay. And there's a reason why their partner didn't want to go. There's a reason why. It will always be revealed in hindsight. Those are the axes of polarity. So looking at this energy here on the cards, yeah, there has to be a very emotional and vulnerable, heartfelt communication that takes place. That is the underlying issue. There has to be an intuitive recognition, a soul recognition in heart that efforts need to be made to balance that dichotomy. The ship has never sailed to a land that can't be reached. The cup of love that is meant for you has never been pulled away. You can look at it like Spirit put the cup right here. And you either got further away from the cup or closer to the cup, or further away from the cup or closer to the cup. But Spirit never actually moved the cup. Spirit gave you the cup. You just haven't taken it yet. The cup didn't get further away from you. The cup didn't disappear out of you. You got so far away from the cup that you couldn't see it anymore. But it doesn't mean the cup's not still right fucking there. Spirit said, here's the cup. Here's the cup. Spirit's not vindictive and say, I'm taking this cup away from you. That's not Spirit. That's our wounding that does that. We get further away from the cup when we don't see what we need to see about the truth. And when Spirit starts pinging you to go after that wish fulfillment and puts a fire under your ass to go and get it, like Knight of Wands, fire under the ass, go get the cup. It's right where you left it. It's right where you left it. It didn't go anywhere. Universe, Spirit, God, karma didn't actually take it from you. Maybe you just had to rest and retreat and heal some things in the mind. Triple swords here in the middle. Maybe the self-betrayal can be healed. Maybe the wish is still there. When you allow yourself to take the journey of balance, no matter what that ends up meaning, you know? This is about communicating the integrity of your soul. These Astro-Dice, it's about communicating the integrity of your soul. The integrity of your soul is balanced. Allow yourself to be transformed, to be healed, and manifest that beautiful 10 of Cups type energy. That justice, right? That justice for all of the soul work that you did, putting yourself into balance of these axes. That you can reinvent yourself, that the book can be rewritten, you know, that everything is not set in stone until you decide it is set in stone. That you can marry and commit to yourself and your healing, which will ultimately manifest a reality that you can commit to that is healed. Yeah, it becomes stable. It becomes your foundation. That's your justice. The heart's truth. That's the justice. Let yourself receive it. Stop telling yourself you're not perfect. Stop telling yourself your partner, you know, is not as equally important, you know. Convincing yourself of whatever, that's just not needed. That shadow is not needed. That unhealed crap's not needed. I'm going to pull a card from the Faery Oracle by Brian Froud. I feel like there's more. All right, Spirit. Okay. Tom the Poet. Card number 29. Tatan the Sylph. Iris of the Rainbows. The Dark Lady. And Fairy Guide. All right, I'm just going to read them. I will let the cards and their intentions speak for themselves. Main card. When Taom turns up in a reading, his presence suggests that youthful spirits and energy abound. This is the time to do exciting things and to tackle projects you've been wanting to do, but for which perhaps you felt you didn't have the time or energy. It may even be the time to write about them, but you probably need to do them first. Taom often shows up in readings for people who have a talent and inclination for writing. And he will send you the right words that you're searching for. Speak and write with conviction and sincerity, and that will persuade others along with an outpouring of ideas. If you're thinking about romance and deciding what you want more of in your life, you may need to put it into words. So that Knight of Cups communication, Talm is literally a romantic and a writer. You may need to write. Call on the energy of Talm to help you. Call on Archangel Gabriel to help you if you don't believe in fairies. If you don't believe in archangels either, call on your highest self to give you the words that will help you heal whatever it is that you need healing. This is about writing from the heart space, being sincere. This is not writing for manipulative purposes. This is not writing with an intention to receive a certain outcome. That is what manipulation is. Doing something in order to receive a certain outcome is manipulation. This is about doing or writing something with no expectations and just being real, just being vulnerable, just being sincere, and seeing where it takes you. That's the vibration of Talm. And it comes out with Taten the Self. Taten the Self is about acute intellect, quickness, mental synthesis, and discernment. What we see here is mental quickness, adaptability, and enthusiasm. Ideas and opinions abound. A few are brilliant, but others may vary from mediocre to downright silly, so be selective. Mental and psychic abilities may be awakened. Independent thinking is in operation. New ideas and new versions of old ideas are creating an exciting, evanescent atmosphere. Avoid excess and extremes. Minds may change often as new ideas and new ways of seeing bubble to the surface. Out of conflict and confusion resolved by goodwill and clear thinking, a new and better understanding may come. This is about, if this is the energy of the whole, right? The writing, the communication, the sincerity, the no expectations, right? The vulnerability. Then this is allowing yourself the ability to think quickly in alignment in your own brilliance, to allow yourself to stay in that no expectations flow after it continues to unfold. Know that ideas are going to come about. Know the solutions are going to come about. Like, this is not about mediocre. This is not about being silly or stupid with life, but about the brilliance of it when you're in the flow. Once you unlock the flow and you're in the flow, like, this is about being excited in the brilliance of the flow and riding the wave. Riding the wave. She brings hummingbird energy with her. It's about joy and the sweetness of life and being able to play with the outcomes and the results. Play with them. Not create them, make them, force them, but seeing them happen for you and being able to enjoy them. Iris of the Rainbows. Iris tells us that light is breaking through our present darkness, and that hope is a powerful factor in speeding up this process. She does not promise that the storm is over, nor does she say that it will never storm again, but she does say that there is brightness and beauty here. She also tells us that there is something to be gained by this passage through the storm. And the sooner we learn what it is, the sooner the storm will end. That goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. You know, where once we have an understanding of something, what was once hard to let go of becomes very easy to let go of. Once we understand why we're in the reality that we're in and why the mirror is what it is, and we're like, oh my God, I see it now, I can let it go and move on from it because I understand it. Like, that's the energy that she's bringing. At this point, it's useful to ask ourselves what we still need to release and to look after protecting and nurturing the seeds we've planted elsewhere. Iris suggests that the cultivation of patience may also be helpful at this time. The storm is breaking up. Are we ready for the change? If we are presently frogs, the fairies say, the time of our transformation foretold by the rainbow may be at hand. Then we shall be kissed by the puissant light of the sun and discover if we are still frogs or if we have become something much more. Once this communication happens and the universe starts to play, there are things that need to be released in order to keep moving forward. So that the Dark Lady follows, because this is like Spirit giving you a progression of energy, a progression of events. The Dark Lady. We may reach the realm of the Dark Lady through grief, through deep surrender, through ecstasy, or through profound ritual. This card in a reading suggests that it is time to withdraw from the ordinary world, to revitalize yourselves through retreat and surrender to the source, unity and the song of ecstasis. This is a time of preparation for rebirth, of restoration and regeneration of the deep self. What is hidden is getting ready to be revealed. Celebrate this passage through the unknown, rich, fertile, and hidden realms of the Dark Lady. This is the time in the natural cycle of life when we open ourselves to and receive the inflowing energies of Himself, card number 17, which is the high masculine energy. When we become powerful, overflowing with the life force. It may also be a time of prophecy, magic, and foretelling of potentials of the future, a time of self-awareness, self-knowledge, and encounters with the hidden worlds. Meditate, retreat, seek serenity and inner peace. When we block the Dark Lady, we may be frenetically active, occupying ourselves with the outer world to ignore the inner call of our inner world. You would be resisting profound change and renewal in order to keep your feelings repressed and hidden. We may become aloof and cold and inaccessible, holding back from others as a way of holding back from ourselves. We get overly busy. We keep being busy, keep moving, and never wanting to stop and think, because that means we're reflecting in the self. It's a constant movement. It's tiresome after a while. The inner self wants to be faced. So when the storm is breaking and the understanding is being sought, then you really do have to take the time to sit with your deep self. It says, at worst, we use the magic of the inner realms for the purposes of destruction and manipulation, becoming black magicians and manifesting black magicians. If we choose to do this, which is the closest thing the fairies know to as an unforgivable sin, we may harm others and ourselves, and we will certainly do very serious damage, if to no one else than ourselves. This is the path, right? When we refuse to go within and be deep, when we refuse to be sincere and come forward and be vulnerable, when we become afraid, right? When we're getting all of this energy, this inclination to move forward, this inclination to regrow and reopen to the light. It's the I'm too busy. I have other things that need to get done first. I have a priority list. XYZ needs to get done. I can't talk to you right now. I have to do this. Like, it's almost like a flip. Like, you've been so vulnerable and been so open and it felt so good, and all of a sudden you don't know how to handle it, and so there's a chance to go into retreat and start blocking it out again, not following through. Like, the Dark Lady asks for you to follow through. Don't stop riding the wave. Don't stop walking across the rainbow bridge. Don't stop enjoying the sweetness and say, well, this needs to get done first. This priority, this problem, that problem, I'm too busy, blah, blah, blah. Oh, sorry, I couldn't answer, and oh, sorry, I didn't get it done, or oh, sorry, I didn't do this, I was too busy. Like, if you're that kind of busy and you're ignoring yourself, then you're kind of going to miss what the outcome or the result of walking the rainbow bridge is. Crossing over, like, if you wanted to get to the ship that sailed the rainbow bridge, is going to get you there. You don't have to swim. It doesn't have to be hard, but you do got to cross that bridge. That light bridge. You can't allow yourself to go back into the dark. So be really consciously aware of that if you find yourself making excuses for why you can't continue down the beautiful path, right, that you've opened in your vulnerability. Don't allow yourself to open the door and then get scared of the beauty behind there and shut it. Don't feel unworthy of it. Don't be afraid of what you'd have to leave behind, right? The dark magicians. The Zero card, the Fairy Guide. This card has been left blank for you to draw your own energy on. Some people may have a clear mental image of their personal guide to fairy. But if you don't have that yet, there are a couple of things you can try. First, try seeing your guide in a meditative state. Asking your personal guide to help you see them. If it doesn't work, ask to be given a symbol that represents them. And go with the symbol that comes to your mind. This is your fairy guide. By drawing on your fairy guide, you personalize and attune your energy, your ability to connect with the energy of magic within yourself. When this card pulls in a reading, it is asking you to get in touch with your own inner leadership, your own magic, your own personal power, your own higher self. This card right here, drawing on the energy of your higher guide, your higher guardian from the world of Fae, or in general, is asking you to visualize your higher self and let it guide you. It's asking you to visualize your higher self and let it guide you. Really, Piscean energy, 10th house, Midhaven. Mercurial energy, connecting and communicating with your higher self on a very spiritual, magical, mystical level, that you would be able to create this partnership, this trusting dynamic, seeing your higher self and allowing yourself to be guided by it. What does your higher self look like? Mine? I'll tell you what mine looks like. She's on my wall. Y'all have seen her. That's her. That's her. She's my higher guide. My higher self. So picture whatever your higher self is for you and all of your light and all of your magic. Your guide that has your best intention at heart, your guide that holds all of the wisdom of the divine, your guide that holds all of the magic of the known and unknown and all timelines across space and dimension. Your higher self that loves you unconditionally and would absolutely never, ever take you off your highest good path, which in turn is the highest good path of all. Visualize your higher self. When in doubt, talk to that image. In your own mind, when in doubt, have a conversation with that self. How would that self guide you? How would that self communicate to you? Get rid of all the other voices. Get rid of all the other busy. And allow yourself to have a conversation legit with your higher self. Be like, yo, I know it's been a while. It might have been, I might have not tuned in with you all lifetime, but like, for real, thank you for being here. Because me and you need to have a conversation. Your higher self is more than willing to show up for you every time. Every time. Let your higher self guide you. It's all good. And that's the message. So I hope, well, I have faith. Whoever gets these messages gets them in divine time. I really got to start catching that habit of fucking hoping for people. I have faith, right? Fucking faith. I have faith this message will reach you however it is meant to reach you, whenever it is meant to reach you. And that you will appreciate it for what it holds for you in some which way, shape, or form. Till next time, guys. Much love to you always. And I will be back as spirit guides me. Take care.